Hello and welcome to today's video. You're joining us for a really special one today, as I do a deep dive into the rosters that are that will be in attendance at the Welsh National Championships 2025 tabletop event in Cardiff at Firestorm Games on January the 18th and 19th. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a really big deep dive on this one. We're just going to start by having a quick look at the race breakdown. So we've got 17 shambling undead teams, 15 dark elves, 12 orcs, 10 skaven, 9 vampire, 7 lizardmen, 6 necromantic horror, 5 Norse, 5 dwarf, 5 gnome, 5 wood elves, 4 snotlings, 3 amazons, 3 humans, 3 halflings, 3 goblins, 2 elven union teams, 2 chaos renegades, 2 underworld denizens, 2 chaos dwarves, 2 tomb kings, 2 high elves, 2 ogres, 1 black orc, 1 slan, 1 imperial nobility, and 1 old world alliance. I'm going to be looking at every single roster. We'll do a quick look at the rule set before we start that. Let's dive in. Okay, so to quickly look at the rule set, the team value is 1.2 million, so that is an extra 50k than many tournaments in the UK go for. The team building rules, there are effectively no tiers, but those in tier 3, so the GW tier 3, may take a maximum of 2 star players, and only once the team has 11 starting players. Star player duos count as 1 star, so that would mean dribble and drool, for example, would count as 1 star. All stars are subject to the Highlander rule, so if both opponents take Morg, for example, they both sit out the match and fight on the sidelines, as there can be only 1. So basically, if you both take Snotlings with Morg, and there are 2 Morgs on the pitch, both the Morgs sit out the game, and it will only be the Snotlings. There are no journeymen, no special play cards, and no mercenaries, but all other inducements are allowed, subject to the team restrictions. So this means things like wizards, so prepare yourselves for some really wacky builds. Each team will get a free team mascot, as per page 39 of the Death Zone. Sheepy reroll! If you know, you know. And then finally, in terms of the skills, rather than getting a skill pack, each team has 48 SPP to distribute amongst its players. There are no random skills and no stat increases allowed, but players can take primaries, secondaries, and stack skills as per the SPP cost in the advancements table. So, without further ado, let's dive into the first roster. So here is the first roster. It is Vampires. This coach is... we should probably start down here in future. So Doglobro bringing vampires. We see a Vargeist with Juggernaut, Vampire Thrower with Block, Vampire Thrower with Block, and then 2 Vampire Runners, which have both been given Block and Dodge. Then there's an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 8. 8 thralls there, I can't even count. 8 thralls there, bring it to 12 players total with the Vargeist, 4 rerolls, no Apothecary, and 1 Bloodwiser Keg inducement. This looks fine. Obviously, the double blodge is terrifying. The Vampire Throwers are fantastic to have on the team. Bringing the Vargeist and declining the Vampire Blitzers means you've only got 1 3+ Bloodlust. Yeah, I would expect this one to do absolutely fine in the tournament. And onto the second roster, it's Vampires again. This time it is Gareth Willis, who is 20 Phoenix, former team captain of Wales, bringing a slightly different vampire team. So we've got 2 Vampire Blitzers, one with Frenzy, one with Strip Ball. So that Juggernaut Strip Ball going to be working well at getting the ball off players, and the Juggernaut Frenzy, meaning it's a very dangerous surfing threat there. Vampire Thrower with Leader to get the extra reroll, and a Vampire Thrower with Pro, meaning that you can reroll there without needing to use a team reroll. 2 Vampire Runners with Dodge, choosing not to stack and instead taking Block on a Thrall and Kick on a Thrall. This roster here with the 9 Thralls, so that extra player there because of not taking the Vargeist. 3 rerolls with the Leader makes 4, and no inducements. 20p obviously a great coach, and Vampires a great team. I'd imagine this does very well indeed. Team number 3, Banjo Unchained. What an awesome coach name there. Bringing Wood Elves. So we've got a Treeman with Guard, a War Dancer with Strip Ball, a War Dancer with Frenzy. Very keen, very Italian style there. 2 Catchers with Sidestep, fantastic for getting in the way, defending the sideline, and also the 1 turn. A Catcher with Block, probably for carrying the ball. thrower with leader to get the extra reroll, but a second thrower, interestingly, and then a alignment there with dodge. Now, this is only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 players, only 11 players because of the tree. 2 rerolls, but the apothecary there as well. No inducements. Wood Elves looking interesting in this one. Look forward to seeing how this one gets on. But as I say, Banjo Unchained. What an awesome coach name there. And on to the next team, which is the first of our Goblin teams. Coach is Brian Treherne. Not sure if that's the NAF name or just the real name. But yeah, on to the first of the Goblin teams. So we've got a Troll with Strong Arm for the throwing, a Troll with Guard for getting the assists in, a Pogoer with Sidestep and Block, so that's going to definitely be the ball carrier, a Doom Diver, you don't see many of those anymore, with Jump Up, so for that kind of throw teammate play, good synergy there with the Strong Arm. A Sneaky Git Looney, so we can see the Chainsaw Foul going to be coming in there, I would imagine. Some linemen, and then Morg, rounding it out at only 12 players with Morg. 2 rerolls, no Apo, and then just down at the bottom, 1 bribe, presumably for the chainsaw. But that is it's a very light Goblin roster, but it looks a heck of a lot of fun. So all the best with that one in the tournament. And now it's the first of the many, many undead teams that we see in the Welsh Championships this year. Nixon is the coach. So over here, if we scroll up, we've got a double guard mummy, a frenzy white offering an alternative to the tackle there. Guard, blitzer white there. Then 3 blodge, 1 rog, some zombies there to fill, and then just down at the bottom we've got 3 rerolls and a keg. Very solid team. Nixon, very solid coach. Yeah, looking like a very, very solid build. Would imagine that this will be a good one. And up next, it's Stevo with the first of the Necro teams. So we see double Flesh Golem with Block, double Wraith with Guard, 1 Wrestle Ghoul, 1 Block Ghoul, double Block Wolves, Zombies to get the finish. And then with the Welsh Open money that's available, with it being 1,200, you do get those 3 rerolls. And going for a Cheerleader to put the extra 10k on. So 3 rerolls. Lovely solid build. Going for the blocks over the guards. I prefer the guards here, but that's just personal preference. The double block is absolutely fine. Love the wrestle block here. Yeah, this will be a good one. And Stevo, a lovely coach as well. We are rattling through and on to the next one. We've got the first of the Skaven teams with Dave Hopkins coaching. So here we have a Rat Ogre with Juggernaut, a Blitzer with Tackle. Lots of stunty teams around and teams with Dodge, so it makes sense to bring a Tackle. A Guard Blitzer, then a Block Gutter Runner, a Strip Ball Gutter Runner, a Sidestep Gutter Runner, a Block Gutter Runner, and then a Block Thrower. Let's see how many rerolls is on the build. So it's 3 rerolls, 2 assistant coaches, 2 cheerleaders, no Apo, so maybe a little bit light. What's that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So 13 players. So there are 13 players on the team. So okay, probably can get away without the Apo. You've got the 1-turn options with the Juggernaut and the Sidestep. You've got the sacking option with the Strip Ball. You've got the tackle to deal with the blodgers. I think this is a really nice all-round Skaven roster. Yeah, I like it a lot. Best of luck in the tournament. And like a Stephen King novel, here's Johnny, and he's bringing the ogres. So we have an ogre runt punter with leader, 2 ogres with block, an ogre with pro. Interesting, not going for the 3rd block there, choosing the pro instead. 1 sneaky git noblar, a bunch of noblars to 11, and then the almighty Griff Oberwald and Rumbolo Sheepskin riding in on his sheep there, or his goat. Yeah, fantastic. Only 1 reroll, pretty brave with 1 reroll and leader, but then I guess you are carrying the ball on Griff with his consummate professional inbuilt reroll. No Apo, so yeah, the ogres are going to need to do the work to screen Griff. Rumbolo can run around blitzing things, and the noblars can go and foul. This looks like a really fun roster. Hopefully those ogres behave, and we see you somewhere mid-table by the end of it. It would be great to see a positive or balanced record for the ogre team by the end of it. And now the first of the superstars, one could say, in the Welsh Open in attendance is Gav Coleman, who is running High Elves, the best High Elf coach in the world. And he's gone for a thrower with leader, 2 wrestle catchers, 2 dodge blitzers, a lineman with block, another catcher with wrestle just tucked down here, and then another thrower, this time with dodge. And no apothecary, 3 rerolls, plus the leader, 1 dedicated fans, 1 assistant coach, 1 cheerleader. If you're going to build a High Elf team and you want to know how to do it, Gav is the man to go for. So I would imagine that we see this one up in the top end of the tournament. Up next, it is the first of the 2 Tomb King teams coached by Falling Down Joe. Falling Down Joe gone for a huge 16-player roster with 4 Tomb Guardians, all with guard, a blitzer with tackle, a blitzer with mighty blow, so choosing to split the 2 out to guarantee the 8 skills, so then you're getting 2 block throwers. Very sensible like that. As I say, it's then skeletons all the way to 16. This does leave you a little light on the rerolls, only 2 rerolls, 1 coach, 1 fans, no inducements. Sure, it's, I guess you can go very foul heavy with this. You're not afraid of regen failing. So yeah, I would imagine with a bench of 5, Joe will be being hyper aggressive, lots of basing up, lots of fouling. So yeah, really a very solid build. I wouldn't want to stand there and face this one, given the depth of the bench. So yeah, it will be really good to see how this one fares. And now for something new, because the next one is Tiki with his Chaos Dwarf team. So we can see a Minotaur with block, 2 Bull Centaurs with block, 2 Chaos Dwarf blockers. Now they've lost the tackle. These have got guard. No mighty blow here. It's just guard. 2 Flamesmiths with nothing here. And then a Hobgoblin with sure hands and a Hobgoblin with wrestle, probably because the tackle is gone. Tiki's thinking that he'll need something to tackle those nasty blodgers with. Only 2 rerolls. You do have the sure hands for the pickup. You do have the Mino with block. Is it actually 14 players too? 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 players. So 14 players, so no Apo. So yeah, that with the Ironhard skin knocking around as well, you'd like to imagine that a good chunk of this team just sticks around. Will be very interesting to see how the Chaos Dwarves get on. Traditionally at the Welsh, in such a lizard-heavy meta, Chaos Dwarves have not done very well. So it'll be interesting to see whether these new Chaos Dwarves fare any better than the previous roster iteration. Okay, up next it is Aardvark, and there are more undead. So this time we've got some zombies up here. We've got a tackle mighty blow white and another tackle mighty blow white. The double tackle mighty blow, nasty stuff for any teams with dodge. Then we've got 2 blodge ghouls, a strip ball ghoul. So once they've knocked you down to the floor and hurt you, and you leave the ball open, in comes the strip ball ghoul. 1 ghoul with no additional skills. 2 mummies with no skills, so there is no guard on this undead team. However, knocking around in the inducements is a wizard. This is one of the standard wizards. So yeah, pretty scary with the tackle mighty blow combo plus the strip ball plus blodge to carry yourself. Undead amazing anyway. Add in a wizard. Oh, this is looking scary. I do hope that I don't run into Aardvark during the tournament. And up next is Mike, which I believe is Stunted Brain. So, going for the very, very traditional Welsh Open build, Welsh Championship build of a Croxagore with block, a bunch of Saurus with block, a Chameleon skink, some other skinks, and if I can get my cursor to the right place and scroll down, 3 rerolls, no Apo. Interesting, no Apo. From my personal perspective, I think I prefer, with everyone having block, I think I would prefer the 2 reroll Apo build in this one. It feels a little bit vulnerable, but I love this build. I can't fault it really at all. The only thing I would change personally is go to 2 rerolls and an Apo, just because I favour the Saurus remaining on the pitch. But again, personal preference. Yeah, this looks super solid, and I would imagine that Lizards do very well in this tournament, as they always do. And in comes Mournival with another undead team. So it's 2 mummies with nothing. It's 2 tackle mighty blow whites. It's 2 blodge ghouls. And this time it's a wrestle ghoul. So very similar to Aardvark's build, but we've gone for wrestle over strip ball. That seems good to me. Bunch of zombies and a ghoul with nothing. 2 rerolls and yet again another wizard. So as I did mention, with all those inducements being available, we are going to see some wizards knocking around. So yeah, quite a solid build here. Again, it's a build I don't really want to run into during the tournament. In comes Full Fat Beard with exactly the same roster as the one we just saw. It's undead again. It's the double mummy. It's the double tackle mighty blow white. It's the double blodge ghoul. It's the wrestle ghoul. And knocking around at the bottom with 2 rerolls is another wizard. If you're not used to playing against wizards, you will be by the end of the Welsh Championships 2025. And on to something completely different. It is Stealth Elf, and they are bringing halflings. We've got 2 block treemen. We've got a hefty with leader, a hefty with nothing, 2 catchers, 1 with sure feet and the other with sure feet as well. A lineman with sneaky git, a bunch of linemen there, and then making up the numbers at the end, Griff Oberwald and Rodney Roachbait with the fishing rod. Fantastic, you love to see it. 1 reroll. But obviously the Master Chef is there in the inducement as well. It's brilliant to see halflings. These look actually quite scary. Luckily they are still stunty, but with Griff knocking around, a sneaky git, and that Master Chef, yeah, it's going to be difficult as always. And when they will fire hard. I'm hoping, as with many of the stunty teams, I'm really hoping that they get that positive or balanced even record by the end of the weekend. And up next is Yankis. I hope that's the correct pronunciation of the name. With Skaven. So we've got a Mighty Blow Blitzer and a Tackle Blitzer. Very sensible. We've got 2 Blodge Gutter Runners. Block and Dodge Gutter Runners. We've got a Strip Ball Gutter Runner and a Wrestle Gutter Runner. So we've got a nice mix of utility skills there. We've got a Juggernaut Rat Ogre, useful for that 1 turn, and a Leader Thrower. And an additional thrower, which means that you're not wasting any TV. 4 rerolls, no apothecary, another really solid Skaven team. Nice, lots of different skills here, lots of different options. Yep, I'm happy to see this, and yeah, looks like a good roster for this particular tournament. And on to the first of our gnome teams from the Fairy Queen of Albion. So Fairy Queen going for 2 treemen with no skills. We've got 2 Beastmasters, both with dodge. We've got 2 foxes with no additional skills because they cannot take movement up or anything like that. So there's no really useful skills for the foxes. And then, would you look at this? We've got a lineman with dodge. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 linemen with dodge. 2 linemen with nothing. And then rounding it out, we've got Grombrindle, the White Dwarf, and then down here we have 2 bottles of heavy brew and 1 Shyland Schlartian. I'm murdering that pronunciation, absolutely butchering that pronunciation. So I have just gone to look for the rules for this Shyland Charlatan, and it is I'll make you a star. So during the pre-game sequence, select D3 players in your team that are eligible to play during this game. These players have been approached by this, and during until the end of the game, each selected player gains the Pro skill. So that is very, very interesting, and the nega trait of this does not come into effect because it's a resurrection tournament. So it is D3 players gain Pro. That is absolutely amazing and a really nice addition to the Gnome roster. And then finally, for those of you who are not aware of the Heady Brew rules as well, these are D3 players and the remainder of the drive. So at the start of a drive, for the remainder of the drive, those players gain Dauntless and Frenzy and the really stupid 4+ trait, but they must be stunty players. So yeah, a good silly one for the Gnomes there. So with both of those inducements mixed with Grombrindle, there'll be loads of skills flying around on the pitch. It's going to be a headache-inducing game if you're playing versus them. Gnomes always are. Add in all that wrestle and dodge. Oh, it's going to be carnage. I really, really hope that this Gnome team does exceptionally well. Fantastic stuff and a really creative team in this rule set. And over to Orkster, who has brought lizards. Now, this is a nice lizard team. We've got a guard Croxagore, we've got 4 Bloxsaurus, and then we have a slight deviation away from the typical Bloxsaurus. We've got a Tacklesaurus and a Wrestlesaurus, and also a skink with catch. Now, Orkster is going to the Euro Bowl in where is it being held? Hungary, that's the one. Yeah, we were in Greece before, but we're in Hungary. So Orkster's going to the Euro Bowl in Hungary, so probably looking to practice a build with maybe less block available, because that's what the limitations are out in Hungary. So yeah, so that's good. 12 players, 3 rerolls, no Apo. Same applies as before. With that bunch of block and the wrestle as well. Not having the Apo feels maybe a bit light, but that's, it is it's down to personal choice. No inducements. Yeah, fingers crossed for a good showing for these lizards. And now on to another one of the halfling teams, and this is Smurf 1917. Now, Smurf 1917, if we think back to our previous halfling roster, and now we look at this one, this has a very different feel to it. We have 2 frenzy treemen, a hefty with leader, a catcher with sure feet, a halfling with dirty player. We go all the way to 12 players, and then 8 rerolls. No apothecary, and a halfling master chef. Now, I'm not saying that it's what I would have done, and I'm not saying that it's wrong, but this looks absolutely bonkers. I hope that you don't need all those 8 rerolls just to make sure that the treemen don't fail rushes with all the frenzy. But this looks like a laugh a minute. Yeah, let's see how they get on. I look forward to seeing how this one gets on at the end of the tournament. We're sticking with Stunty, and it's Stew the King with Goblins up next. So we've got 2 Trolls with Block. We've got an Ooligan with Sneaky Git, so that Dirty Player and Sneaky Git stacking together. A Goblin Lineman with Block. Interestingly, I might have preferred a Strip Ball here, but I can see why you want a Blodger. A Goblin with Sidestep, always useful. And then a bunch of... we've got a Chainsaw, none of the other secret weapons. Few goblins here, and then Bomber Dribble Snot and Hathark the Unstoppable as the 2-star players. There is also 2 bribes, 2 rerolls, no apothecary. Again, maybe a little bit light on players, especially with 2 secret weapons, but there are the 2 bribes to work with them. But the Ooligan will be fouling with that Sneaky Get as well. Yeah, looks like a pretty strong goblin team. I'm sure that it will cause carnage against some teams. I just hope it's not against me. Wouldn't you know, we're back on Undead again, and it is Dorian Schmidt bringing the Undead. 2 guard mummies, a guard wight, a tackle wight, 2 wrestle, 2 blodge ghouls. Really standard kind of thing. Got all bases covered here. Bunch of linemen, including a skeleton in there as well. Lovely to see. Great to see the skeleton. Thick skull OP. 3 rerolls. No inducement, so no wizard on this team. Yep, pretty solid. I think it probably does well in a lot of matchups. I would be interested to see how this one fares against the other Undead that have maybe not gone for guard, but have instead gone for the tackle mighty blow, that attrition rather than control build with wizards. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this one gets to play any of those other Undeads, who comes out on top. Next, we have one of only 2 Underworld teams, and it is Sean Gray with a fantastic team name, Lager, 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 Shouting, Tub Thumping. I love it. So here we have a Rat Ogre with Juggernaut, a Gutter Runner with 2 heads, Skaven Blitzer with Mighty Blow, the Thrower with Block, a Clan Rat with Dirty Player, 2 Wrestles for wrestling those players down to then step on them, and an Underworld Goblin with Horns. I do love an Underworld Goblin with Horns. 3 Goblins, and then the full complement of Snotlings. So there we go. And then 2 rerolls only, no apothecary, but then we do have the 2 bribes, a biased referee, and Fink the Fixer. So let's just quickly look at what the biased referee inducement does. So up here, it says it's the close scrutiny. So on a roll of a 5+, the biased referee spots the foul and the player is sent off exactly as if they had rolled a double. So this is the if they roll a foul, make a foul without rolling a double on either the arm roll or the injury roll, it's a D6, and on a 5+, they get sent off as usual. And on the roll of a 1 to 4, the player manages to avoid the ref's attention. So there's already more danger to your opponents getting sent off if they are fouling, even if they don't roll the double. Just any foul they do, they add that extra level of danger to that. And also, when rolling on the argue the call table, you may apply a +1 modifier to the dice roll, which means that on a 5+, rather than a 6+, you will successfully argue the call, and also you cannot roll a 1. And finally, Think to Fixer is the inducement where once per game when your team uses a bribe, you may re-roll the D6 to see if the bribe is effective. In addition, when rolling on the argue the call table, a coach who has hired Think treats a roll of a 5 or a 6 as a well when you put it like that result, and a roll as a 2 to 4 as an I don't care result. However, on a you're out of here result, Think is sent off along with the coach and will play no further part in the game, but stacking with the biased ref, and this is a foul heavy underworld build. This is going to be really scary for those teams that have not bought an apothecary. I'm thinking of those lizard teams that we've seen already, and I'm sure there'll be many more coming. But then it would not necessarily be as scary for those teams like that 16-player Tomb King team we saw earlier, where they just have all those players, all the gnomes, for example, where they've also got loads of players available. So yeah, it's going to be really situational, and there will be some matchups where this underworld team will do fantastically, and times when it won't do as well. So yeah, absolutely fantastic team name there from the Underworld, and also love the naming of all the individual pieces as well. Next up, it is Fluffy the Alien bringing orcs, and we have two big un blockers with block, two big uns with guard, one blitzer with frenzy, scary for those sideline plays, and also is the poor man's tackle as they call it, one with mighty blow, another guard, another blitzer with nothing, a few orc linemen, a goblin for the 1-turn chance, and a troll with guard. Very, very solid. No apothecary needed. 3 rerolls. Yep, looks solid, nice and control. Let's just hope it handles those undead teams really, really well. And speaking of undead, it's that other Asian guy bringing undead again. We have the double guard, we have the mighty blow white blitzer, we have another guard white blitzer, so choosing to stay away from the tackle, but we have 2 block, a wrestle, and a sidestep ghoul, so useful for that 1-turn chance potentially, or guarding a sideline. Then a bunch of zombies, no skeletons, 3 rerolls, 1 dedicated fans, and a keg on the inducement, so choosing to not go for the wizard, instead going down a much more control kind of traditional undead route. Yep, this looks super fine. As I said before with the undeads, it's just kind of how they manage to match up versus the ones without wizards, how they manage to fare against those that did bring a wizard. And it's back for more Tomb Kings with DSG. And we see again the 4 Tomb Guardians. A tackle blitzer, but then a second tackle blitzer going really hard into that dodge meta. So maybe won't do so well against things like the orcs or some of the teams that are, if you run into a dwarf team, these tackles will be completely useless, but really good in the heavy stunty and dodge meta. And then 2 throwers with block, some linemen, but not as many as we saw in the previous Tomb Kings team, because they've gone instead for the 3 rerolls and the extra assistant coach and a keg. So it means that whilst they don't have the bench to immediately just replace with, the KO rolls are slightly better with this keg inducement as well. So yeah, be really interesting to see how this one gets on in comparison to the other Tomb Kings team. It's more orcs, coached by Dodge22 here. So we see the 4 blitzers. It's guard, tackle, and mighty blow. Then the 4 big uns with skills, block, and guard. So there are 3 guard on the team, but only 1 on one of the big uns. And then it's orc lineman taking you to 12. So there's no thrower, no troll, no goblins, and instead 4 rerolls, 3 assistant coaches to gain more of those rerolls potentially, and an apothecary. Looking very solid here. It's got everything that you need. A bit of guard, a bit of mighty blow, a bit of tackle, the strength on the blockers there. Yep, this is a very solid team. Dodge, a very solid coach. Dodge 22, a very solid coach. I can see it doing pretty well. And then we're on to that Asian guy, bringing the only Old World Alliance team, but what else is he going to play, as the team name says? So there is an Ogre with guard, a Dwarf Blitzer with guard, a Dwarf Blocker with guard, another Dwarf Blocker with guard, a Troll Slayer with nothing, a Human Blitzer with tackle, to deal with that blodge and dodge meta, Human Thrower with nothing, Catcher with nothing, 3 Wrestle Linemen. It would not be a team coached by that Asian guy if it didn't have 3 Wrestle Linemen on it somewhere, and then rounding out the lineman with nothing with a Halfling Hopeful. 3 rerolls, no Apo. It's a very solid team. It's a very solid build. It is Old World Alliance, but that Asian guy, one of the best at Old World Alliance. So yeah, I would imagine that this team does very well. It looks solid, but it's going to be down to coach skill, I think, rather than race skill. And it's time for another Skaven team, this time coached by Cheeky Jimmy. Now, Cheeky Jimmy's gone for a Juggernaut Rat Ogre, a Guard Blitzer, and a Tackle Blitzer, all very sensible. A Thrower, but with no skills. We've got a Strip Ball Gutter Runner, 2 Blodge Gutter Runners, and a Wrestle Gutter Runner, and a Kick Lineman. So the Kick Lineman obviously looking to put the ball where it's most preferable for the Skaven, hoping for that Blitz or that failed pickup, in with the Strip Ball, in with the Wrestle, pick up on the Blodge Gutter Runners, run off and get the early touchdowns. Very nice. There's an Apo there. There's 3 rerolls. One thing to note, I do know Cheeky Jimmy personally, so I will have a quiet word with him here. I do think he might have messed up slightly on the team building, because the part-time assistant coach is here for 40k. It would have been better to just put them as assistant coaches here rostered rather than on inducements. It may just be the tour play system there, so I'll have a quiet word with him at some point. So it's only 2-time part assistant coaches in the inducements. Now we have another Orc team with Seducer of Trolls, and Seducer of Trolls, with a name like that, you'd think they'd bring a troll. Nope, no troll. Instead, it's similar to the Orc build we just saw, with 4 big uns. This time they've all got block, 4 blitzers, 1 tackle, 2 guard, 1 mighty blow, same as before. Then some 3 Orc linemen and a Mr. Throw, a thrower, 3 rerolls, an apothecary to keep players on the pitch, presumably with the KOs, a cheerleader and a coach, and a War drummer on the inducements. And here is the inducement, the War drummer. So at the start of each drive, after the kickoff event has been resolved, but before the ball itself lands, roll 3d6. For each roll of a 4+, one player on the opposing team can be pushed back 1 square towards their own end zone, exactly if a pushback block dice result had been applied against them. The same player can be pushed back more than once by this inducement. So this does mean that that you can prevent 1-turn touchdowns by using the War drummer, and on a 4+, you can just push a player backwards exactly as if they have been pushed back with a block dice result. So with that inducement in mind as well, this looks again like a very solid Orc team. Just Seducer of Trolls. With a name like that, surely bring a troll next time. We're back for more Undead with Mark the Magnificent, and it's another double guard mummy, tackle white blitzer, guard white blitzer here, 2 blodge ghouls, bunch of zombies, a skeleton, love it, a ghoul with block and a ghoul with sure hands, very sensible, all good stuff. Oops, sorry, got the click there. And then 3 rerolls and a Bloodwiser keg, similar to builds we've seen before. Yep, solid, good stuff. On to Fredman Walking, that brings us back onto more vampires. So this time we've got a Vampire Blitzer with Strip Ball, a Vampire Thrower with Blodge, the stack, another Vampire Blodge Vampire with the stack again, a Vampire Runner with Block, and a Vampire Runner with Dodge. So all the skills piled onto the vampires here. We've got loads of thralls. There's 9 thralls there. And if I scroll down here, 5 rerolls, so plenty of rerolls for the vampires. This looks like a really solid vampire team. They're going to do what they need to do. The opposition are going to struggle to knock these over. It's going to be really interesting to see how the vampires play against the undead, especially the undeads with wizards, or the undeads that have brought those kind of kill stack skills. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. But yeah, this team looks really solid, and yeah, I'm hopeful that I don't have to face this one. Up next, it's more Orcs coached by the Bunny. And here we have 4 blitzers. A strip ball blitzer, a bit of a curve ball there with the strip ball. A tackle blitzer, a mighty blow blitzer, and a frenzy blitzer. It's bringing all the builds kind of together into one. Then we're seeing a double block big uns, a guard big un, so only one guard, and a thrower with kick. A very interesting choice of skill there. And then a bunch of Orc linemen. So it's very similar to some of the Orc builds we've seen already, with just a different skill selection there. Then here's the other amazing thing: 5 rerolls and no Apo. So it's really looking like an all-in Orc team, probably playing very aggressive. Exciting to see, and hopefully this one does really well. I'm loving these wacky builds that we're seeing in the Welsh Championships 2025, and it's fantastic to see a rule set that allows this. I am Batman. I'm not really, I'm Dr. Hellboy, but this is the name of the coach. I am Batman, and I am Batman is bringing vampires. Wow, what a build here. We've just seen an Orc team with maybe some slightly curveball skills, but here we're seeing a vampire thrower with Cannoneer, another vampire thrower with Leader, then a vampire blitzer with Frenzy and Strip Ball. That stack that we saw split over 2 vampires on other builds, we're now seeing them stacked together. Absolutely terrifying. Another blitzer with Tackle, so Juggernaut Tackle on that one, and then 2 dodge vampires. 8 thralls brings the team all together with 4 rerolls, no apothecary. So yeah, pretty scary, but I'd imagine this looks like a very passing heavy vampire team, so it's probably a score quick and then go after you kind of vampire team. Look forward to seeing how it performs. We've got another High Elf team here, and this time it's from Angry Hobbit. Angry Hobbit is bringing a Cannoneer thrower, a tackle blitzer to deal with all that stunty meta and the dodge knocking around, as we said before. Then a Dauntless blitzer, probably to deal with some of the Saurus and all these mummies on the undead team. So it might look a bit crazy in an ordinary build, but actually this might come into play in some of these matchups where there are a lot of big strong mummies knocking around in all the undead teams. Then we've got 2 catchers with block, 2 catchers with dodge, and a second thrower with Leader. It's 12 players total, 2 rerolls and an apothecary. Yeah, it's very different to the one that we saw earlier from Gav Coleman, but yeah, Dauntless may well come in clutch. And here we have a Chaos Renegade team, so something slightly different from what we've seen already, coached by Bertmac. So Bertmac's gone for the Skaven lineman with Wrestle, Orc with nothing, probably just to babysit to the Rat Ogre, the Goblin with nothing, the Dark Elf with dodge, very standard there. The Troll gets guard, the Ogre gets block, the Rat Ogre gets juggernaut, one of the human linemen gets block. There's a bunch of other human linemen in there, and then a thrower with Leader. And if we just scroll down here, that brings the 2 rerolls plus the Leader there as well. 1 assistant coach, no apothecary. It's maybe a little bit light on players, but importantly, knocking around here in the inducements again is the Wizard. So it's not only is it a Chaos Renegade team knocking down at the bottom here is that Wizard threat. This may well perform really well against those undead teams that have brought a Wizard, so it's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch and see how it gets on. Up next is AmiJP91, and they are bringing Wood Elves. So this is a very different Wood Elf build than I think we're maybe used to seeing. We've got 2 War Dancers with no skills, a thrower with no skill, 2 sidestep catchers. That's very kind of typical that we would see, and then a bunch of block Wood Elf linemen. So 5 block Wood Elf linemen is maybe going for a bit more of a punchy Wood Elf team rather than a dodgy Wood Elf team. And then a guard tree. There are 12 players. There's no apothecary, 2 rerolls. Yeah, it's no extra inducements. This one's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. I'm not quite sure how I would play this team if I was playing it. I'm mainly used to seeing skills on the War Dancers, but I think this one might hold up in some of those bash matchups a little better. It will just be interesting to see how it plays versus those other really high agility teams. We are back on the stunty bandwagon, or should I say the stunty pump wagon, because we've got the Snotlings. The Snotlings here coached by Howler. Howler's brought 2 block trolls, a pump wagon with no additional skills, 2 fungus flingers with pass, a stilty runner with sure feet, a stilty runner with no additional skills, 2 fun hoppers with no additional skills, Snotling lineman with sneaky git, couple more Snotlings there, and then Skitter and Glart as star players. Really interesting to see, because if we cast our mind back, we do have the Highlander rule applying. So if 2 teams have the same star player, they will both sit out. So by taking Skitter and Glart, it means that you're not losing out on removing a star player such as Griff, or well, obviously Griff can't play for the Snotlings, but maybe taking out something like Morg instead. So by banking on 2 different stars, you're probably going to keep one of them around on the team, which is really good for the Snotlings. 2 rerolls, no apothecary. Then down in the inducements we have here 2 bribes and riotous rookie, so that means we can gain additional Snotlings for the swarming to occur. Yeah, very, very standard. Looks nice and scary. I'm a huge fan of Skitter and Glart as star players. Yeah, I hope this one does really, really well. It is more Skaven, and this time they're coached by Shrike. So we have a Rat Ogre with Juggernaut, very standard. We've got a Blitzer with Guard and a Blitzer with Mighty Blow, standard as well. A Block Gutter Runner, a Wrestle Gutter Runner, and a Strip Ball Gutter Runner, but only 3 Gutter Runners in this build. Then we have a Leader Thrower, a Wrestle Line Rat, but if we do scroll down, we see the 2 rerolls, no apothecary, quite light on players this build, quite light on players with only 12, but we do see the horticulturalist of Nurgle Wizard. So to look at the Horticulturist of Nurgle Wizard special rules, you've got 2 spells. So the normal wizard, obviously you've got the Fireball or the Zap. Those are standard wizard rules that we are hopefully all aware of. But this one has got different rules. So we've got Vigorous Growth. So for the duration of the next team turn, so it's either at the end of either player's team turn before the next team turn begins, there is a -2 modifier applied to the dice roll every time an opposition player attempts to rush. Now, obviously, this could be devastating for the Norse, or if you were playing in a league. Obviously, moles under the pitch doesn't apply for exhibition prayers to Nuffle, but you could see this being really impactful in a league match. So that's a bit quirky. But I think that the most likely one that the Skaven are going to utilize this for is the Strange Flora spell. So choose an empty target square anywhere on the pitch and nominate D3 standing opposition players that are within 2 squares of the target square. Roll a D6 for each nominated player. On the roll of a 3+, the player is unexpectedly attacked by demonic plants of prestigious size that erupt from the loamy earth before rapidly rotting away to nothing. On a 1 to 2, nothing happens there. But if they roll the 3+, any standing players hit by Strange Flora are knocked down. When a player is knocked down by Strange Flora, you may apply a +1 modifier to either the armor roll or injury roll. This modifier may be applied after the roll has been made. So that basically means you get to add Mighty Blow on either the armor roll or the injury roll when you're knocking them down. So D3 means it's either 1, 2, or 3 players will be affected by this within 2 squares of the target square. So a cage, you could target a kind of middle of a cage square, and then the ball carrier might go down, and 2 other players around it might go down. So yeah, it's definitely got some really good use for a Skaven team. So yeah, that will definitely be an interesting one to see how much impact that wizard has. And if we just look back at the team as well, that Strip Ball and that Wrestle are going to come in clutch with that wizard there. So yeah, best of luck with this build. It's more undead. There are 17 teams of them, so we've got to get through all of them. It's Volcano with the team here. And we have our first block mummy. So choosing to spend extra SPP to get block on a mummy. A guard mummy, a tackle white, a mighty blow white, 2 block ghouls, and a wrestle ghoul. Not taking the extra ghoul here, just the 3 ghouls for this build. Gets the two rerolls, the assistant coach, and tucked down at the bottom here, the wizard. So yeah, another undead team with a wizard. Will the block mummy make the difference? It might well do. Up next, we are back on for more lizards, and it is Adam Leaf who is coaching these lizards. We have 6 Saurus and 5 Skinks, so 11 players but no Croxigor. No Croxigor. Very interesting. So we've got 3 block Saurus and 3 guard Saurus. Now, I love a guard Saurus. I'm a big fan of a double guard. I've never tried 3 guard Saurus, so we'll see how this one fares. We've got a chameleon skink with catch, a chameleon skink with nothing, a sidestep skink, and 2 other skinks. As I say, only 11 players, no apothecary, but 5 rerolls. So I would be expecting a very aggressive style of play here from this coach. I think it's going to struggle potentially versus some of those teams where we've seen, if this team runs into that Underworld team, that heavy fouling build Underworld team, I think they are going to struggle. But with 5 rerolls, Lizards with stunty skinks running all around the place, it can be difficult. The guard will work well in the bash matchups. So yeah, not saying that it's right or wrong. It's definitely not what I would do with Lizards, but I look forward to seeing how they fare at the end of the tournament. I hope you guys are all enjoying the video. Thank you for sticking with me. We're now on to the next team, and it's another Underworld team, and it's coached by me, Dr. Hellboy. So I have gone for a Juggernaut Rat Ogre, a Tackle Mighty Blow Blitzer, a Sidestep 2-Heads Gutter Runner, a Leader Thrower, a Dirty Player Clam Rat, 2 Clam Rats with nothing, 3 Goblins with nothing, some Snotlings with no additional skills, 2 re-rolls, no Apo, 2 bribes, a Night Goblin Shaman, and a Bloodwiser Keg. So the Night Goblin, Shaman, Wizard. Let's look at the 2 spells. So the first one is the Spore Cloud here. So we can start it at the end of either player's turn. A 2+, on the roll of a 2+, the player is engulfed by a cloud of Madcap Mushroom Spores. Until the end of this drive, the player gains both the Loner 5+ and Really Stupid traits. So it could be useful as in a kind of clutch situation. I might look at using that one. But mainly what I'm bringing it for is the Foot of Gork or Mork. Because on the roll of a 1 or a 2, nothing happens. On a 3 to 5, the player has been stomped on by the Foot of Gork or Mork. And on the roll of a 6, the player has been kicked by the Foot of Gork or Mork. So if you're getting stomped on, then the player is knocked down by the Foot of Gork or Mork, and I may apply either a +1 modifier to either the armor roll or the injury roll. So exactly as if Mighty Blows applied there. So I can just pick one player and do that to them. Or the other one, which is potentially more fun, is if I roll the 6, then the player is immediately catapulted through the air. Immediately treat that player as being thrown as if they had the right stuff trait and as if they are strength 3 or less, should their strength be 4 or more, by another player with the throw teammate and a strength of 5 or more. And treat the quality of the throw as terrible. So that means that you could pick a player in the middle of a cage holding the ball, and on the roll of a 6, that player is catapulted out of the cage potentially with the terrible throw. There is a random scatter on it, so yeah, it could be quite wacky. I'm looking forward to seeing what damage I can do with this one. So obviously, looking at my roster, the team is built around damage output and a 1-turn touchdown. That's the aim of the game. The Wizard is there for a little bit extra. The Keg is there to keep people around. Bribes to help with that damage output. We'll see how I get on. There's a lot of solid teams. Underworld versus Undead is a difficult matchup, I think, for the Underworld. So yeah, it's going to really depend on what races I face during the tournament. And it's back to the Undead with James Newman here. So let's look at this build. So we see another block mummy, another guard mummy. Tackle white, guard white, block, and wrestle. A bunch of zombies, a skeleton lineman with thick skull. Thick skull, obviously an OP skill. Brilliant, you love to see it. 3 rerolls, but then Horatio the Wizard. Let's have a look at Horatio's special rules. So Horatio is effectively a discount standard wizard. So you choose a target square anywhere on the pitch. The target square is moved D3 squares in a direction determined by rolling a D8 and then referring to the random direction template. After moving the target square, roll a D6 for each standing player from either team that is either in the target square or a square adjacent to it. So you've basically got a grid kind of square, a grid of squares around the fireball. And then on a roll of a 4+, the player has been hit by a fireball. On the roll of a 1 to 3, the player manages to avoid the fireball. Fireballs, if you get hit by the fireball, you are knocked down, and you may apply a modifier to either the armor roll or the injury roll. So, yeah, this is just a fireball with a slightly random, obviously, because there is a D3 squares direction. So, yeah. It's a bit more random. It's a bit cheaper, but yeah, it's still a wizard on an undead team. So do I think it will be as strong as the other wizards on the undead teams? Possibly not, but with the block mummy as well, and then the standard kind of skills that we're seeing on all the other undead teams in different formats, I would imagine this team still does really, really well. And finally, we see some Dark Elves, and we are starting with Spleggy. So Spleggy has brought a Dodge Runner, 4 Dodge Blitzers, a Block Witch, a Wrestle Witch, and a Block Dark Elf Lineman. We are up to 12 players, 3 rerolls, no Apothecary. Yeah, it's a standard build. I'd imagine it does fine. Dark Elves do quite well in the undead matchup. It's a fine matchup. However, with a wizard against them as well, it might be a little bit difficult, bit precarious in this rule set. Obviously, the Dark Elves are bringing no inducements here, but Spleggy is a very solid coach. So yeah, look forward to seeing what this one can do. And up next, we have our first dwarf team. It's Morg and Paul. So we've got a Death Roller dwarf build. So we've got 1 runner with block, 2 guard dwarf blitzers, a Mighty Blow Troll Slayer, a guard block lineman, and then 3 Mighty Blow block lineman, which brings it, with the Juggernaut, brings it to 5 Mighty Blow on this dwarf team. So what they are lacking in rerolls, having only got 2, they are making up for in Mighty Blow. There is no Apothecary, so, you know, obviously if you can remove a dwarf, easier said than done, but if you can remove a dwarf, then there is a chance there. They do have a bribe for that Death Roller, so yeah, it's definitely a team to end your fun. And now we've got a human team, and it's Mega Bog here with the human team. So we've got 3 guard blitzers and a tackle blitzer, a block ogre, 2 block catchers, a catcher with no additional skills, a thrower, 2 human linemen, and a halfling hopeful there. So 12 players on the roster, 3 rerolls, no Apothecary, but knocking around at the bottom here, there is a wizard. So humans with a wizard. They've got multiple 1-turn opportunities as well with the catchers, the thrower, and the so standard 1-turn with those, and the ogre with the throw teammate, with the halfling as well. The tackle blitzer to deal with things, deal with the elf and dodge meta here. So yeah, very solid human team. Yeah, we'll be really interested to see how this gets on against some of the more exciting builds that we've maybe seen. And yeah, I obviously undead are everywhere with wizards, so having a wizard to kind of counter back with that, really good. If the humans can keep their powder dry, they could definitely cause the undead teams some problems. And it's on to more orcs from Vacant. So here on the orc team, we've got the 4 big and blockers, 2 guard, 2 block, standard, a blitzer with Mighty Blow, 1 with tackle, 1 with sure hand, so a ball carrier rather than the thrower, and a guard player. However, they do have the lineman, and then they have actually brought the thrower as well. Not sure if you need the thrower as well as bringing a blitzer with sure hands, but if that's the decision there, then that's absolutely fine. There are 13 players. There's no Apothecary, 4 rerolls, so lots of opportunity to reroll there. No extra inducements. Orcs, solid team. Yeah, just not sure on the sure hands. There we go. Skaven again now with Bam Bam Bungle. So Bam Bam Bungle has brought a Juggernaut Rat Ogre, a Tackle Blitzer, a Mighty Blow Blitzer, a Block, Strip Ball, Sidestep, and then randomly here, a new skill has appeared on the Gutter Runners. It's a Sprint Gutter Runner. So for that extra rush, if you can't make it on the 1 turn, or just want to get just even further out of range of the opposition, the Sprint Gutter Runner there. Then a Leader Thrower, another Thrower, so we shouldn't see any wasted TV here, and a bunch of linemen to bring it to 13, 3 rerolls plus the leader, so that's 4 total. No Apothecary. Solid roster here. Would imagine that the Gutter Runners are going to be doing all the work on this team, and the Blitzer and the Rat Ogre will be clearing up along the way. And we're back with more Dark Elves and Slim Jono. So Slim Jono is bringing a runner with dodge, a witch elf with block, a witch elf with wrestle, 4 dodge, so making them blodge blitzers, and a block line elf. Exactly the same build, I believe, as we saw from Spleggy. But instead we got 2 rerolls and an Apo instead. So favouring the Apo rather than the additional reroll. Yeah, it's all pretty standard. Looks very good to me. On to more Necro here from Jaywood. So Jaywood is bringing 2 block werewolves, 2 guard wraiths, 2 guard flesh golems, 2 block ghouls, up to 12 players, 3 rerolls. We discussed it earlier with the previous build with the Welsh Championships rule set. You can make a really nice Necro roster. This looks super good to me. I love the 4 guards. Maybe I personally would have gone for a wrestle here, 1 block, 1 wrestle, but that's just personal preference. Yeah, this is a Necro team that you want to have and one you don't want to face. And on to No Number with Undead. No Number here going for the double mummies with no skills because there is a tackle mighty blow stack here and then another mighty blow here. So the double mighty blow whites, but there is then an additional stack coming in rather than on one of the whites. We're seeing a stack on the ghouls, so a block sure hands ghouls. You've got a ball carrier and you've got a killer with a backup there as well. Then 2 more block ghouls, so no wrestle ghoul for the sacks, but you don't need a wrestle ghoul when you've got a wizard. It's yet another undead team with a wizard. Yeah, we're just going to be seeing fireballs and zap spells, frogs all over the tables at the Welsh Championships 2025. I think No Number will do very well with this team. Excellent coach, and yeah, he'll be able to pilot this to success. But if there is one coach that's going to stop No Number, it would be Mankiz, the current 2-time winner of the Welsh Championship, looking for his 3rd and final win. He said he will never return if he takes the title 3 times. He's not coming back to Cardiff. It's just embarrassing. So this time, rather than bringing Dark Elves, he's brought Wood Elves. So we see a treeman with no skills, a strip ball war dancer, a tackle war dancer, 2 block catchers, a sidestep catcher, 2 dodge lineman and a leader thrower. It's a total of 12 players. There is a tiny bit of wasted treasury, 2 rerolls, no apothecary. Really standard kind of Wood Elf build here, straight out of the box. Mankiz, excellent coach. I mean, if you're looking to do 3 times in a row, this is probably a team that Mankiz could do it with. So yeah, definitely Mankiz, one to watch. Stone Throwing Devil next with more Skaven. So we see the Juggernaut Rat Ogre, pretty standard. A Gutter Runner with Kick. So we've seen a Skaven team, I believe, already with a Kick lineman, but this time we see a Gutter Runner with Kick. Not sure that I personally like the Kick skill going onto a Gutter Runner. I think there are better skills that Gutter Runners can utilise, but that's not to say I don't like the Kick skill being on the team. We've got a Block Gutter Runner, a Wrestle Gutter Runner, and a Strip Ball Gutter Runner. Very standard there, like those. Guard and Mighty Blow Blitzers, absolutely fine, and another wrestle lineman. Might have wanted to see, personally, again, maybe swapping the kick and the wrestle round to be on the different pieces there, but that's these are small details. Then we've got 3 rerolls, no apothecary, but 13 players, so pretty healthy for the team, and a keg to help with the KOs. All really good. It's more Skaven, and again, just showing how different things can be. CT is bringing a slightly different Skaven build again. So we see a Rat Ogre, but this time we've got the Rat Ogre with block, so probably going to be doing a bit more of the damage, the blitzing with this Rat Ogre. Then we get a Blitzer with Guard, a Blitzer with Mighty Blow. We've got 3 Gutter Runners, Block, Wrestle, and Strip Ball, all very standard. Leader Thrower, yep, all making sense. 12 players, no apothecary, so maybe a bit light, 2 rerolls plus the leader, but the reason is there is a wizard knocking around here. So how are you going to beat the undead with the wizards? Bring your own wizard with you. So yes, Skaven with a wizard, possibly scarier than the undead with a wizard, I think. Yeah, going to be interesting to see how this Skaven team performs by comparison to the other ones that we have seen. Necro again from Novelty Boy, and has he gone for any novelties? Well, we've got 2 block werewolves, we've got 2 guard flesh golems, we've got 2 guard wraiths, we've got a block ghoul and a wrestle ghoul, exactly the build that I would have gone for with 3 rerolls. So is it a novelty? No, but it does get the Hellboy seal of approval. Hell yeah! And things are getting cold in here. We've got the first of the Norse teams that we've seen. So we've got a Yeti with no additional skills. We've got 2 Ulfwerners with guard. We've got a Valkyrie which has been stacked with block and dodge, and then a Norse Berserker that's been stacked with mighty blow and tackle, and another Berserker stacked with tackle as well, suggesting that there was concern here from the coach about the elf and stunty meta. Then we've got 2 beer boars and a bunch of Norse linemen there to tie it off. 3 rerolls, no apothecary, but with 15 players. Okay, 2 of those are pigs, but 15 players. You don't really need the apothecary. Yeah, Norse, with all the block around, mighty blow tackle to deal with those elves, and a Valkyrie with blodge is looking really good. My only concern would be the weakness of only having the 1 Valkyrie with all the wizards knocking around and all the scary mighty blow tackle. But yeah, looks pretty good roster to me. As I was scrolling to the next roster, I completely forgot to mention the previous coach's name. So it's Matt Dubb with the Norse. So Matt Dubb, best of luck with the event. On to more humans now from Yellow Ox with a different human build to the one that we saw earlier. So we've got an ogre with guard, a blitzer with mighty blow, a blitzer with guard, another blitzer with guard, and then the 4th blitzer comes with tackle, a thrower with block, 1 catcher with block, halfling with nothing, human lineman with dirty player, another catcher with nothing, and then another halfling knocking around here. So quite a big build with 14 players, 3 rerolls, no apothecary, but a bribe knocking around here. So a bit more of a fouling human team. And if we cast our mind back to some of those maybe lizard teams with no appos, these are the kind of matchups where lizards versus humans can be a bit on the fence, I found. But with a bribe, a dirty player, and no appo for the lizards, I'd start to lean towards the humans in those matchups. So yeah, it will be really interesting to see how this human team gets on. Good luck. And from one human team to another, it's Hal 9000. Hal 9000 going for a block ogre, 2 guard blitzers, a mighty blow blitzer, a tackle blitzer, a leader thrower to get an extra reroll, 1 catcher, 2 halfling hopefuls, and then linemen to fill the roster out to 15. 4 rerolls, no apothecary. You add in the leader, so you got 5 rerolls. You've got the 1-turn touchdown options. Yeah, just looks like a really solid human team. No additional adjustments. So yeah, good luck, Hal. We'll see how it gets on. I think this will do all right. And it's gnomes again from Nightwing this time. Gnome alone. So we've got 2 gnome illusionists with, you guessed it, dodge. 2 foxes with no additional skills. 2 gnome beastmasters with dodge. 2 treemen this time taking dodge. So rather than going for more dodge, giving the treeman guard in this instance, and 2 gnome linemen get the dodge. And then, as we saw with the previous gnome team, Grombrindle comes in as a star player. 4 rerolls, no apothecary. Yeah, excellent stuff. Maybe not as wacky as the previous gnome team, but yeah, a good one, and it will certainly cause people some problems. More Dark Elves now from Howling Griffin. Howling Griffin does like his Dark Elves. I've played versus them. Very good coach. So we have 3 Dodge Blitzers and 1 Tackle Blitzer. Now, I used to like the Tackle Blitzer. I don't now. However, I can see in this tournament, if you know the Welsh Championships for a long time, you do know that there is always a Stunty, Lizard, Dodge Elf teams around. So Tackle is almost a must-have on your team. So yeah, not surprised to see one there. We've got a block and a wrestle witch, and then we've got the double assassin, the double dodge assassin. I love it. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, you're only getting 11 players, but you do get the double stab. Yes, there's an apothecary, 3 rerolls. Oh, it's so good. If it's good enough for Pete W, then it's good enough for me. Charlie Woo. And the vampire team, you don't talk about Bite Club, so I'm afraid I'm going to break the first rule. It's Bite Club here, with a Vargeist with block, a Blitzer with strip ball, a vampire thrower with block, another vampire thrower with block, and then the two vampire runners coming with dodge. Then there's another block skill coming in, but this time on a lineman. So it's only 13 players, maybe feels one player too light, but with the Vargeist there, hopefully looking to do some damage, no doubt. 4 rerolls, no apothecary. It's vampires. You've got the Vargeist to go and deal with those things like the mummies, like the Saurus on the lizard teams. Yeah, I'm sure it will do very well. Dark Elves again, and this time coached by Rubik. So Rubik's gone for the 4 Blodge Blitzers. A double Witch Elf with Wrestle here. So rather than 1 block, 1 wrestle, double wrestle. I like it. And then 2 Dodge Linemen. It does go to 12 players. There's 2 rerolls and an Apothecary. Yeah, very standard build. I really like this build personally. I think this is nice. And I hope that this one does really well, because yeah, I'm a fan. Necro time again from Fisky this time. We've got the 2 werewolves with block, the 2 flesh golems with guard, the 2 wraiths with guard, the ghoul with block, the ghoul with wrestle. It's all looking great. 3 rerolls, Hellboy's seal of approval. Hell yeah, well done. Go and enjoy the perfect Necro build, in my opinion. More Dark Elves coming out the woodwork from Big Dan here. So we've got a Witch Elf with Wrestle, a Witch Elf with Block. We've got the 4 Blodge Blitzers. We've got a Dark Elf lineman with Dodge, and then a Dark Elf lineman with Kick. Maybe not the most utilizing skill that you can take on the Dark Elf team, but in some matchups that Kick skill will come in clutch. So yeah, as long as the matchup is one where you really need the Kick, like the stunty matchups, the one-turners, things like that, the throw teammate one-turn could come in really useful there, or against teams where you just want to make sure that the ball ends up where you want it. Maybe they haven't set up particularly well against the Blitz kickoff event. We've got 3 rerolls, 12 players, no apothecary. Yep, pretty great build. Kick is just the interesting bit there, but yeah, this Dark Elf team should be absolutely fine. Necro again, there must be something in the moon. So it's Fated this time. So Fated's gone for the 2 werewolves with block, the 2 flesh golems with block this time, 2 guard wraiths, 1 ghoul with block, 1 ghoul with wrestle, 12 players, 3 rerolls. I've said it all before. Block here is absolutely fine. I prefer the guard. It's absolutely fine. Solid build. Good luck. And by comparison to the Necro, we've got another Undead team. And the Undead teams, we've seen quite a high range of variety. The Necro team staying with the same kind of build, but the Undead have got something a bit different on many of those builds. Here we see the double guard mummies. We see the tackle white and the guard white. Block, and then a sneaky git ghoul out of nowhere. The sneaky git for the fouling, absolutely brilliant to see something a bit different here. And a wrestle ghoul, bit of zombies. Only 12 players, so with the sneaky git, you might want to bribe. But down here with the 3 rerolls, there we have it, a bribe. So the sneaky git protected with a bribe. So we're seeing a bit of a fouling undead team here. Fantastic to see. Yeah, great to see a bit of variety. Even though undead are the most popular race pick in this Welsh Championships 2025, it's good to see that we are getting a bit of roster variety in there as well. Skaven again with Shaney Poo. This time we've got 3 block gutter runners, so making them blodge. We've got a strip ball gutter runner. We've got a mighty blow blitzer, a guard blitzer, and a tackle clan rat. So interesting to keep the guard and the mighty blow on the blitzers, and the tackle probably going to be used as a sweeper, I would imagine. There's the juggernaut rat ogre just tucked in there at the bottom. 3 rerolls, 2 assistant coaches, 2 cheerleaders, 13 players, no apothecary. It's Skaven. It's going to do all right. Yeah, I quite like having this tackle on a clan rat, meaning that you can blitz with the mighty blow, get the guard in for the assist, blitz with the mighty blow on most turns, and then just have that tackle clan rat kind of lurking in the backfield to deal as a sweeper if you suddenly get a breakthrough from a little stunty or an elf carrying the ball. Up next, it's more orcs from Dodgewell, and Dodgewell, well, we'll see if they need to dodge well. They've got no goblins, so they might be relying on those 3+ dodges or 4+ dodges with the rerolls. So we've got 4 big uns with block, 4 blitzers with guard, a thrower, some orc linemen to bring it to 12, 3 rerolls and an apothecary. Boom, boom, boom. Nice and simple, easy to understand. I love it. I just hope that your control style of play with the guard and the block doesn't mean that you need to be relying on dodging well. Yet again, we've got more undead, and this time it's from Feral Brushlicker. So Feral Brushlicker's bringing the 3 ghouls. This time they've all got block. It's a double tackle, mighty blow, white blitzer combo going on here. 2 mummies with nothing, some zombies, another ghoul down at the bottom, tucked out the way with no additional skill. 2 re-rolls, 2 assistant coaches, and yet again another wizard. To be honest with you, I'm running out of things to say about these undead builds with wizards. Let's just see how they go at the tournament. And it's Dark Elves, again the second most popular race, and this time they are coached by Danny. Danny's gone for the standard 4 dodge blitzers, the wrestle witch, the block witch, and then the double dodge assassin. I absolutely love it. As I said earlier, if it's good enough for Pete W, it's good enough for me. 3 rerolls, an apothecary, only 11 players, but that double assassin there, oh, you've got to love it. It's more dwarves, and it's Taurian Beast, and he has also gone for the Death Roller build. So we see a Dwarf Blitzer with no skill, a Dwarf Blitzer with Pro. Very interesting choice, Pro. Fantastic to see something different on dwarves coming through. A bunch of linemen with no skills. Then we get a bunch of guard linemen, very standard. A Dwarf Runner with Wrestle, so the ball carrier presumably carrying on this guy. Then again, could carry on the Pro, use the Pro for the pickup if it failed instead of the sure hands. So yeah, wrestle on that one there. Mighty Blow Troll Slayer, and then the sneaky git on the Death Roller. So we're going to see a fouling Death Roller here. 2 rerolls, no apothecary, and the bribe. Just hoping that the Death Roller doesn't get sent off too early on and need the bribe in some form or fashion. And it's straight back into another dwarf team, this time coached by Unsullied. Unsullied gone for a slightly different build. There's a double Troll Slayer in this one with Mighty Blow. The Blitzers are coming with no additional skills. We've got linemen with guard. We've got 2 more Mighty Blows. So another 5 Mighty Blow team here for the dwarves. A blocker lineman with nothing. A runner with block. A runner with wrestle. The Death Roller again with no additional skills coming in. 3 rerolls, no apothecary, no bribe this time. So as soon as the Death Roller has been on for a drive, it's getting sent off unless they successfully argue the call. So yeah, a very different dwarf team build. Again, really high damage output here with the block and the wrestle. Yep, interesting to see how people are doing the different builds. This one maybe a bit more traditional. Up next is more orcs coached by Bashman, and Bashman living up to the name because there's a troll there with Mighty Blow. There's 4 big uns with block. There's a frenzy blitzer, a tackle blitzer, and 2 Mighty Blow blitzers. A thrower with nothing, 2 orc linemen. So there's no goblin for the 1 turn, but there is a lot of Mighty Blow there, a lot of block. 12 players, 3 rerolls, and the Apo. Strong, solid orc build there to bash. Bashman leading the way. More undead, coached by Magic Dave. And the question you're asking yourself is, does Magic Dave have a wizard? Well, we'll see in a moment, but Magic Dave definitely has 1 block mummy, but then 2 block mummies, a complete block out here on the mummies up here. 1 Mighty Blow white, but that gives you 3 pieces with block and Mighty Blow to be punching with. Hopefully every turn if the opponent leaves things based. You've got a tackle white to deal with stuff. You've got a block ghoul to carry on, a strip ball ghoul to deal with the sacking the ball if needed. You do then find yourself with two ghouls without skills, which can be a little bit scary. I'd imagine that one of these stays on the bench, and it's only 3 fielded on each drive, because protecting the strip ball ghoul as well is going to be difficult. So I would imagine that we'll only see 3 ghouls on the pitch each time. There is a skeleton lineman there, fantastic. But did Magic Dave bring a wizard? No. Brought a Budweiser keg instead. So no wizard on this one, but the double block mummy and 3 rerolls. Really, really interesting. So yeah, this could hurt. Up next, it's Wood Elves again, coached by Queen of Spawns. And Queen of Spawns here, going for something slightly different again. We've got a strip ball war dancer, very traditional, but then a guard war dancer. So maybe dodging or leaping in to get an assist to make it a 2D on the ball when the sack is attempted. 2 blodge catchers, a thrower with cannoneer, and a thrower with leader. So leaning into maybe that one turn there with the cannoneer or the passing game. Drop the thrower back, do a nice long pass with the cannoneer. Then you've also got a block lineman there, and then a tree knocking around as well. It's 12 players, 2 rerolls. The leader makes the third one. No apothecary. Apart from it's a standard kind of build of team, but yeah, some really interesting skill picks here. So yeah, we've seen a few teams now with the Wood Elves where things have been shaken up a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how successful that guard war dancer is in this tournament. And from Wood Elves to Dark Elves, coached by Blue Pill. So Blue Pill has gone for a bunch of linemen. We've got a kick Dark Elf lineman here. We've talked about kick on a Dark Elf team before. We've got lots of blodge blitzers. Again, this time we've got the leader runner, another interesting skill there. We've got a leap assassin. Oh my goodness me, you'd never thought you'd see the day. We've got a leap assassin. Oh, I hope that gets to come into play, leaping into a cage for the stab, and then one witch elf with wrestle to round off the roster. Oh, that's brilliant. I was not expecting that at all. It's only 2 rerolls with the leader, no apothecary, but up to 13 players, so hopefully the lack of apothecary won't make too much difference. And yeah, leaping assassin for the win. And from one leaping assassin into a whole team of leap, we've got our first Slan team, and only Slan team, I believe, coached by Mookstar. So Mookstar has gone for 2 catchers, stacking blodge on them, so making them hard to knock over. Taken 2 blitzers, 1 gets wrestle, 1 gets tackle, and then a lineman with tackle as well. So possibly quite concerned by the amount of stunty teams and elf teams that we're going to be at this tournament. Then there's a bunch of linemen and a Croxagore, bringing it up to 12 players. No apothecary, but really important for Slan is those rerolls. 5 of them, 5 rerolls. Forgotten bit of treasury here, so unfortunately I don't think that it's going to get a chance to get moved anywhere because the rosters were locked in, but that could have gone on to an assistant coach or dedicated fans maybe. So yeah, shame to see that little bit of bank wasted. But yeah, I love a bit of Slan. So yeah, 5 rerolls. Hopefully this one does all right. More undead, and it's Pirate Bear this time. It's a guard mummy, a guard white, a tackle white, 3 block ghouls, a wrestle ghoul, very strong, very standard, 3 rerolls, Bloodweiser keg. It's not the fault of these undead coaches. There's just so many undead teams, and yeah, I really can't come up with anything new to say. So yeah, best of luck in the tournament. However, different from undead is Demort bringing knobs. It's Imperial Nobility. So we've got an Imperial Nobility thrower with sure hands to pick up the ball. We've got a bunch of linemen there with no skills. We've got a blitzer with dodge and another blitzer with dodge. And then we've got 4 guard bodyguards and an ogre with guard as well. So 5 guard, bit of blodge, sure hands to pick up the ball. All really standard stuff. 3 rerolls, no apothecary, 12 players. So maybe a little bit light on the players, but yeah, nobility are OP, we know this, so where will they end up at the end of the tournament? Oh, I hope it's towards the top end. Chaos Dwarf time with Son of Woki. So Son of Woki has brought a Minotaur with block, 2 Bull Centaurs with block. We've got 3 Chaos Dwarf blockers, the old Chorfs minus tackle obviously now with guard, and 1 comes with Mighty Blow. 2 Oh, sorry, no, I lie. It's the Flamesmiths who've got to have got guard. And then one blocker's got Mighty Blow, one blocker's got guard. So the Flamesmiths being chosen to give them guard. They've been skilled up. So that's really interesting choice there. So that will mean they'll be being based up. And then if they don't get knocked over, they might be able to do the Breathe Fire skill over the opposing team. And then we've got Hobgoblins as well to kind of round out up to 13 there. 2 rerolls. There is an Apothecary for maybe appoing those random KOs, or maybe keeping the Hobgoblins on the pitch. So yeah, looking good. As I said before, with the Chaos Dwarf teams, the Welsh Championship's not normally a tournament that favours Chaos Dwarves, so it'll be really interesting to see where these ones finish up. Dark Elves again, and it's Fez with the Dark Elves. We've got the double Wrestle Witch Elf, we've got 3 Dodge Blitzers, and a Guard Blitzer, something slightly different on this build, and a Leader Runner, 12 players, 2 rerolls, and an Apothecary. The Guard is really interesting. You do sacrifice an additional skill. I've had some success in the past with Guard Dark Elf Blitzers, so yeah, looking good. Hopefully they do really, really well. And from one Dark Elf team to another one, coached by Cornish, one of the nicest people in Blood Bowl. So Cornish has gone for 4 Blodge Blitzers here, a Block Witch Elf, a Wrestle Witch Elf, a double Assassin with Dodge. If it's good enough for Pete W, it's good enough for me. Lineman to make the 11, 3 rerolls, an Apothecary. Love, and Cornish is an absolute sweetheart. Just when you thought we'd forgotten the stunties, they're back. It's more Snotlings coached by Neodord. So they've got 2 Trolls with Guard, a Fungus Flinger with no additional skills, a Stilty Runner with Sure Hands for the pickup, so using a double there, a Stilty Runner with no skills, a Pump Wagon with Sneaky Git, a Fungus Flinger with no additional skills, 2 Fun Hoppers with Sprint to get that extra movement in, a bunch of Snotling Linemen, and then Varag Ghoul Chewer as the star player, along with 2 bribes, the Riotous Rookies, and 3 rerolls, no Apothecary, so 14 players plus the Riotous Rookies. Yeah, it's Snotlings in a nutshell. Varag as well, looking really good, nice and scary. Yeah, hope this one has a really fun time and does well. Undead time again, and it's Marky Mark this time. It's 2 mummies with nothing. It's 2 Tackle Mighty Blow White. The stack coming in, the kill stack again. 2 Blodge Ghouls, 1 Wrestle Ghoul, 1 Ghoul with no additional skills, 2 rerolls, 2 assistant coaches, and yes, you guessed it, a wizard. There we go. Marky Mark, it's nothing against you, buddy. I've got nothing else to say. More orcs now from Bubble Fuzz. So Bubble Fuzz is bringing a guard blocker, a block blocker, a guard blocker, and another block blocker. So just doing it in a slightly different order for the big ones there. Then the blitzers get guard and guard. Blitzer with Sure Hands here, but unlike the other orc team where we saw them, there was a thrower. There's no thrower here, so the Sure Hands does make sense. A tackle to deal with the dodge spam. A troll for the extra strength, and some linemen there as well. Brings it up to 12 players. 3 rerolls. Apothecary, very strong. Yeah, it's the standard skills we'd expect on orcs. Yeah, should do all right. More orcs from Allo Allo, and as Allo Allo calls their team name, Not Another One. I think they mean not another one as in the dice roll, but it's not another orc team. Oh yes it is, but this time we've got some wacky stuff going on. We've got a troll with Brawler. We've got the big uns doing the same thing as we've seen before with block and block and guard and guard. Then we've got 2 blitzers with no additional skills, but a blitzer with wrestle. Haven't seen a blitzer with wrestle for a very long time. Really interesting there. A blitzer with tackle, a thrower with leader, and then some linemen to round it out. It's 13 players, 3 rerolls, no Apothecary this time because of the big bench, but really interesting to see Brawler being taken as a skill on the troll and wrestle on the blitzer. So yeah, see how this one fares by comparison to the others. Amazon time now from Everybody's Dead Dave. And Everybody's Dead Dave has got a stacked Jaguar Warrior blocker with block and guard. One other one with guard. A block blitzer, a wrestle blitzer, all very standard stuff. A thrower with leader, a block linewoman. Loads and loads of players there. That's 14 players. 2 rerolls. The leader makes it 3 rerolls. The Apo and 2 Bloodwiser kegs. So if you get rid of one of those Amazons as a KO, it's just a 2+ for them to return. This is a really, really nasty looking roster. I think the undead teams are going to be really happy, the ones that brought the Tackle Mighty Blow stacks. So yeah, we'll just see how they fare. But Everybody's Dead Dave, really great coach with Amazons. Looking forward to seeing how this one gets on. And now it's a different team, one we haven't seen. It's VM Cat with Black Orcs, and it's an astonishing build. We've got a block troll, and then we've got 6 Mighty Blow Black Orcs. Absolutely brilliant. This is the build that won most casualties out at Euro Bowl in Greece. Yeah, goblins for the rest of it. 3 rerolls, no apothecary, 1 bribe just to round it out. Oh my goodness me, this is the favourite for most Kaz, surely. Yeah, really, 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 really wacky, really great to see. It's Snotlings again, this time coached by Dementor, aka Peg Leg, and he has gone for Morg and Hackflem Snotlings. Absolutely disgusting, but he is here to stop Mankiz doing the 3 wins in a row. So it's the 3-beat prevention squad Mark II, Morg, Hackflem, 2 trolls with block, a fungus flinger with accurate and pass, a sneaky git Snotling, a mountain of other Snotlings, nothing fancy here, just Snotlings, it's just the stars and the Snotlings, 1 reroll, 2 coaches, Morgan Thorg, Hackflem, as we said before, riotous rookies. Dementor, I hope you get to play Mankiz, and I hope the result is what you want it to be. Elven Union now from Barry Valley Boy, and they have gone for a bunch of linemen, a thrower with leader, a thrower with accurate, a catcher with kick. Again, interesting that we're seeing skills being put a bit like a gutter runner. I wouldn't have necessarily put the kick skill on a catcher. Instead I might have gone for something like dodge or block. Then we've got another catcher with sprint. Okay, makes sense if you're looking to get the 1 turn, get some quick scores there. We've got a catcher with no additional skills, a dauntless dodge blitzer and a dodge blitzer. As we saw on Angry Hobbit's High Elf team, amazingly, the Dauntless skill might well come in clutch here against some of these strength teams, the Undeads, the Lizards that we've seen. So yeah, it remains to be seen. But it's great to see a different elf team out there. 3 rerolls, no apothecary, 13 players. So maybe the apothecary. Hopefully the 13 players will stay alive. But yeah, looking good. Dwarfs again from Adalio this time. We've got a Mighty Blow Troll Slayer and a Guard Troll Slayer. 2 Guard Dwarf Blitzers, a Block Runner, a Runner with nothing else. A Dwarf Lineman with Mighty Blow. 2 Dwarf Linemen with Guard. Very, very standard stuff. It's called Methodical Wizardry, and that's because along with the 2 rerolls, no Apo, 12 players, there is a Wizard. And Wizards on Dwarves, as proved by Dionysian before, can be absolutely fantastic at taking out corners of cages, then allowing the blitz in, preventing scores, etc., or just blitzing a hole through when you've got an elf screen in front of you and you can't get through. Drop the wizard, get rid of one of them, blitz the other one out the way, game on. So yeah, very interesting, completely different to the other dwarf teams we've seen. So yeah, will be a tough one to deal with, I think. And from one set of short men with beards onto another, it's the Gnome team. And this one's coached by Frag Rock. So Frag Rock's gone for 2 Guard Trees, 2 Dodge Beastmasters, 2 Foxes with nothing else, 1 Gnome Illusionist with Dodge and Leader for the additional reroll, and then another an Illusionist for Dodge. So not the mass Dodge spam that we've seen before. We've then got Rodney and Griff as the star players. 2 rerolls, so very reroll light here. Not sure I like this as opposed to some of the other gnome builds we've seen. 2 rerolls feels very, very light. 15 players, no apothecary. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays. Griff is going to need to do all the work, though, I'd imagine, and I'm sure that he will have fun with this one. And Dustbin 89 is now bringing our next stunty team, and it's Halflings. So we've got the double block trees, we've got the leader hefty. We've got the Sure Feet side step catcher this time, a bunch of Halfling Hopeful linemen, and then Deep Root Strong Branch and Rumbelow Sheepskin, two fantastic star players for the Halfling teams. One reroll, but that doesn't matter because there in the inducements is the Halfling Master Chef. This one looks like a lot of fun. 3 trees on the pitch. It's a whole forest, all with block. Very, very difficult to deal with. Philip Snare now bringing more stunties, and this time it's Snotlings. We've got a block guard troll and another block guard troll. We've got stilty runners with no skills, fun hoppers with no skills, a Snotling lineman with sneaky git, and then lurking down at the bottom here, the star players. Morgan Thorg, what a typical one there, but then Scrapper Sorehead as well. So fantastic to see that the Highlander rule will allow Scrapper to be on the pitch, even if the other player has brought Morgan Thorg. There are no riotous rookies though, there's just one bribe. So it is 16 players capped out at 16 with no apothecary, but 3 rerolls. Morg's going to need to do the work, and it's great to see Scrapper out on the pitch. Fantastic stuff. Sticking with the stunty theme, we now have Kismet bringing gnomes. So this time we see some more dodge. We've got the gnome beastmaster with dodge, the gnome beastmaster with dodge, the gnome illusionist with dodge, and the other gnome illusionist with dodge. We've got only 1 fox on this team. Very interesting to see, only 1 fox, but you don't need more foxes when you've got Griff Oberwald supported by 2 block treemen. So a lot lighter on players, only 14 players, 3 rerolls, no apothecary. No additional inducements other than Griff. Kismet, a lovely coach, good guy, played him before. Griff, again, going to need to do the work, but with only 1 fox and no additional stars, if you run into another mirror match, another team with Griff, I'd be interested to see how this one fares in the end. Not the dodge spam and no star player backup. Very interesting. As we make our way, hopefully, towards the end of this video, I'm struggling on, and we find ourselves with Mr. Frodo. So thank you very much, Mr. Frodo. I'm now reminded of Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to keep going on like the Samwise Gamgee that I am. So here we are with the Jaguar Warrior blocker with block, another warrior with block on this Amazon team. We've got a blitzer with wrestle, another blitzer with wrestle, 2 throwers with block, and then 2 line women with block. So loads of blodge, loads of rog. It's only 13 players, 4 rerolls, but the apothecary there. So very different to the build that we saw from Everybody Dead Dave, but Mr. Frodo knows how to pilot an Amazon team, and with all that blodge around, as long as you don't run into one of those undead teams, you should be absolutely fine. More Dark Elves now from G. Clark, and G. Clark has gone for the typical 4 Blodge Blitzers, the Block Witch, the Wrestle Witch, the Dodge Runner build here, and another Kick Dark Elf Lineman we see. 3 rerolls, no Apothecary, 12 players. We've said it before, the kick is the interesting bit. The rest of it, very, very standard. Yeah, should do absolutely fine. More vampires, and it's Grumbleduke this time with the vampires. We've got a vampire thrower which has got the blodge stack, a vampire thrower with just dodge. Vampire blitzer with block and frenzy with the juggernaut as well, so that surf option is very scary. And then the vampire runners both with dodge. Bunch of thralls there, bring us up to 14. There's 4 rerolls, 2 assistant coaches. That there is also an apothecary, presumably for either that critical thrall or that critical vampire Kaz that you definitely want to make sure it's coming back and not rely on the regen. Nothing much that we can add really here. Looks like a really good vampire build. Yeah, I expect it to do well. More vampires again, and this time from Danimal. So Danimal's gone for the double vampire runner with dodge, the thrower with blodge, the thrower with block, and then the vampire blitzer. But this time we see frenzy and mighty blow. So there's another different combination that we've seen there. We're up to 14 players with this one, 4 rerolls and an apothecary. Yep. All really good. Really like to see the variation here with the vampire blitzers. The mighty blow adding a bit of attrition there could be really, really interesting, and the threat of the surf as well, and also the additional threat of, if you get the push on the first one, the mighty blow can still catch you on the second one. Really good. Excellent stuff. Dark Elves again, I said they were popular, and this time it's Scouseboy. Scouseboy, we've got the standard 4 Blodge Dark Elf Blitzers, the Block and Wrestle Witches, the Dodge Runner, and this time a Block Lineman. I think it's a lot more sensible than the Kick Lineman, just personally. 3 rerolls, no Apothecary, 12 players, should be great, and Scouseboy, an excellent coach. Really good luck. More Dark Elves again. Lloyd White this time. Again, it's the standard Blitzers build, the Witches build. Sure Hands Runner this time for the pickup and the kick. Dark Elf Lineman. We've said about that already. 3 rerolls. No Apothecary. Should be good. Enjoy. Doc Miniature here now with Vampires again. Here's the Vargeist with block, a Vampire Blitzer with strip ball, Thrower with block, and the other Thrower with leader. 2 Vampire Runners with dodge and a Thrall Lineman with block. Again, it's perhaps a little bit light on the players with 14 possibly, but also maybe even more concerningly light on the re-rolls. 3 with the leader, making it only 4 re-rolls, and you do have a couple of Bloodlust 3+ players here. If the Vargeist can do the work, I think it's really good to bring the Vargeist to the Welsh. I like these vampire builds with the Vargeist. But yeah, just the 3 rerolls plus leader might be a little bit light if that leader did get taken out for whatever reason. But yeah, Vampires looking excellent. On to the superstar. Whoa, Andy Davo. Better at Blood Bowl than a can of Spam. It's Undead again. This time we've got 1 Mummy skilled, 1 with Guard. We've got the Tackle Mighty Blow stack, and we've got the Guard White as the other one. We've got a Sneaky Git Ghoul here. Again, we see a Sneaky Git Ghoul. Double Blodge Ghoul and a Ghoul with nothing. A couple of zombies there to tie us out. With the Sneaky Git, we get the 3 rerolls and we get the bribe. So Davo not going for a wizard. Not sure if it's the correct build or not. It remains to be seen. Davo does love a foul though, and he is a banger, so he's brought his Tackle Mighty Blow. Surprised to see that it's not a double Tackle Mighty Blow, double stack somewhere, maybe a block Sure Hands maybe, but yeah, it should be absolutely fine. We've said all we can say with Undead. There you go, Davo. Enjoy. On to more gnomes from Chuck Dread, and this is a gnome team with a lot of stacking going on. So we've got 2 treemen with no skills. We've got a Beastmaster with dodge and sidestep, a Beastmaster with dodge and defensive, working well with the guard skill there. We've got a gnome illusionist with dodge and on the ball. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen anyone take on the ball before. And then an illusionist with dodge. Obviously, we've got 1 fox here because, again, we've got the double stars in. So only 1 fox feels a bit light, but the stars are Rumbelow and Rodney. So fantastic fun. Hopefully, these are some excellent miniatures. I look forward to seeing them. 5 rerolls, no Apothecary, 14 players. Maybe a bit light, lack of dodge, but the rerolls should make up for it. But it does feel maybe a little bit light in that sense. But yeah, should be really good fun. And I look forward to seeing the team. Dark Elves again, and it's Storas this time. So Storas has gone for the double Wrestle Witch, the Blodge Blitzers, the Block Lineman, and the Leader Runner. And the Leader Runner with the 3 rerolls here brings it to 4 rerolls built. No Apothecary. Looks absolutely fine. Pretty standard stuff. Love the 4 rerolls. Can be super aggressive with that Leader reroll in particular. So yeah, should do really, really well. More elves, and it's Dolce this time, bringing wood elves. So we're seeing a sidestep ward answer and a frenzy ward answer, possibly for some sideline play. A leader thrower, sprint catcher, sidestep catcher, another catcher with no skill, a true man with no skills, double wrestle line elves, and a dodge line elf, all pretty standard. But we're seeing 1 reroll and an apothecary with the 12 players. So all the other wood elf builds really choosing to ignore the apothecary and go for the reroll. So hopefully that thrower doesn't get hurt, because only having 1 reroll for a drive could be pretty nasty here. But yeah, if it works, I think it will do really well. We haven't seen any lizards for a while, and here they are now with Whitey. So Whitey's gone for the very standard, love it, 7 block build. There's the chameleon skink. 3 rerolls, no apothecary. I've already made it clear throughout the video what I feel about the no apothecary lizards, in particular with some of the builds that we're seeing. Fantastic though, great skill choice. Can't go wrong with 7 block. Chef's kiss. It's Norse again, this time from Nightman, and Nightman has got a bunch of linemen, gone for a block Yeti, a double block Ulfwerner, a Valkyrie with Sure Hands, a Valkyrie with Wrestle, and 2 Mighty Blow Berserkers. There's only 13 players, no Apothecary, so possibly a little bit light on players, but 3 rerolls. But then again, you can be light on players if you are banging them out with the Mighty Blow and the claws from the Yeti with the Ulfwerners to support, and and the Valkyrie just carrying the ball. So yeah, could work out okay. But no beer pigs, as you may notice, which is strange, as the team name is beer pig, sheep. Time for more Skaven from Pompey Paul this time. So we've got a block Rat Ogre, a guard blitzer, a mighty blow blitzer, strip ball, wrestle, 2 block gutter runners. Absolutely love it. Very standard stuff. Brilliant. 13 players, 3 rerolls, and an apothecary. Looks really, really solid. Yeah, I can't fault this roster at all. Looks brilliant. APSG24 bringing Dwarves here, and this is a really kind of standard build. Double guard blitzer, double block runner, double mighty blow troll slayer, double guard lineman, 4 rerolls, apothecary, boom, Bob's your uncle, sorted. Yeah, that's a build we'd expect to see in the 2016 version of Blood Bowl, the CRP version of Blood Bowl. That'll be absolutely fine. Bit of bash, bit of guard, safety ball safety there, 4 rerolls, Apo. You're not going to get rid of those dwarves. Yeah, very, very solid, very solid. Dark Elves from Luago. We've got the 4 Blodge Blitzers, the double wrestle Witches, Dark Elf Lineman with Dodge, Leader Runner, Lineman for the rest. All really good. It's 2 rerolls and an Apo build. Yep, super solid. Up next is BB Jock, Team Scotland captain, going with Vampires. So going with Vampires. So the Vampires, we've got the Frenzy on the Vampire Blitzer. We've got a block strip ball on the Blitzer, block thrower, leader thrower, 2 dodge runners. Yep, we've seen those kind of combinations before. All super good. 14 players, 4 rerolls, no apothecary. Yeah, really good. Jock, an excellent coach. Should do really well in my opinion. Another Amazon team now from Fritz Unlucky. We've got the double stack block guard Jaguar Warriors. So they also have defensive, obviously, so that works in tandem with each other. You've got the blitzers with block and wrestle, 2 throws with no skills, 1 block line woman, 3 rerolls, and an Apo. It's kind of a combination with the 14 players. It's kind of a combination of the two Amazon builds we've seen previously from Mr. Frodo and from Everybody's Dead Dave. Yeah, looking really good. The defensive and guard gonna cause some real problems, I think, for some of those undead teams that they will no doubt run into. Slosher now with Orcs. So we've got some linemen, we've got some big uns with block and guard as before. We've got a blitzer with mighty blow. We've got a sure hands blitzer, but no Mr. Throw, so we like that here. We've got 2 guard blitzers, a troll, and 2 goblins for the throw teammate option. If needed, really nice to see some goblins on an Orc team. 2 rerolls, an apothecary. Yeah, really like it. It's got a bit of fun on it, but it's got the stability of the other Orc teams. Yeah, should be all right. SCS Sam bringing Norse now. SCS Sam does love his Norse. He's gone for the double Ulfwerner with block, the double dodge block stacked Valkyries, and a tackle Berserker to deal with all the blodge spam. Another Berserker with no skills, a bunch of linemen, and a beard boar. No Yeti. That's pretty standard from SCF Sam if I remember correctly. 15 players, no apothecary. You don't need it with that many players. 3 rerolls, and 2 assistant coaches. In the hands of SCS Sam, this team will do really well. Orcs again, and it's Mevans this time, bringing a troll with no skills. 4 blockers, big on blockers with block. 2 guard blitzers, a frenzy blitzer, and a tackle blitzer. All pretty standard stuff. But 3 goblins this time. We've seen one with 2 goblins. Now we see one with 3 goblins. Will we see an Orc team with 4 goblins before the end? I don't know. 3 rerolls, no apothecary. I'd imagine this one will be really good fun with the 14-player roster with those 3 goblins running around as well. Brilliant stuff. Up next is Scab, and Scab is bringing Necro. We've got guard, block, wrestle, werewolf. Whoa, out of nowhere, a wrestle werewolf. Haven't seen one of those in ages. We got a block and wrestle ghoul. It was nearly the full Hellboy approval, but the wrestle wolf, not for me. It's still fine. It's just not for me. 3 rerolls. Yeah, excellent stuff. Enjoy that, Scab. Have a good one. Skaven coming in from El Spunio, and El Spunio is bringing a Juggernaut Rat Ogre, a Tackle Mighty Blow Blitzer, no skill on the other Blitzer, deciding to put both skills on the one Blitzer, a Block Gutter Runner, a Gutter Runner with no skill, Strip and Wrestle Gutter Runners there as well, Leader, Thrower, all making sense, 2 rerolls, 4 assistant coaches to hopefully snag another one, and an Apothecary, 13 players, yeah, looks pretty good, all in on the one Blitzer, the other Blitzer just having block. That's an interesting choice there that we haven't seen in the other Skaven builds. But yeah, looks really good. Dark Elves again, and this time it's from Barnacles. Barnacles going for the double Wrestle Witch, the 4 Dodge Blitzers, the Dodge Runner, the Kick Lineman, and 3 rerolls, no Apothecary. Absolutely fine. All I'll say is I'm really pleased that there's no Leap Blitzer on this one, Barnacles, if you watch this. Joining the undead crowd is Atlas, Simon Fisher. We've got the Double Guard Mummy, the Tackle White, the Mighty Blow White, the Block, Wrestle, Sure Hands and Block Ghouls, Zombies for the rest, 3 rerolls this time, and a Keg to round it off. There we go. Love you, Fisher. Norse again, it's Stuart 1975, and this Norse team has got a Yeti with Juggernaut. We've got 2 Ulfwerners with Block, Valkyries with Dodge, Berserkers with Guard, and a Dirty Player Lineman, some Linemen as well, and 2 Beer Boars, you love to see it. 3 rerolls and Apothecary, so only 13 players, but they do have the Apothecary. With the Juggernaut Yeti, you would imagine there'll be a lot of surfing, looking at options to surf, with the Dirty Player as the backup and the Guard to support that. Yeah, looks really good, and stay away from the sidelines, guys. Orcs again, coached by one of the greats, Lycos, one of the real greats of the Blood Bowl world. It's 4 Block Biguns, it's 4 Guard Blitzers. We've seen this before. Then there are Linemen, 2 Throwers, and another Lineman there. So yeah, that's a bit of a surprise there in terms of the build, but it does fit the money. No Apothecary, so 14 players with no Apothecary, so really big bench, 3 rerolls. Yeah, very solid. Lycos knows what he's doing. Lizards from Scrooge McGull this time. We've got a bunch of skinks. No chameleon skink this time, just ordinary skinks. 6 block, and the 7th block coming on the Croxagore. You know how much I love it. Makes it 13 players, so no Apothecary and 2 rerolls. With the 13 players, I know this one has been favoured for a while by some people. I think it's all right. It still feels a bit weak for the Saurus not having the Apothecary, but with the deep bench, you can still field 11 hopefully by the end of the first half. So yeah, should be good. And yeah, I love that 7 block build. Norse again, and this time it is Craggle. And Craggle has gone for 2 Dodge Valkyries, 2 Block Ulfwerners, 2 Guard Norse Berserkers, a Kick Lineman, and a Frenzy Lineman to add a bit more frenzy onto the team. Why not? No Ulfwerner, no Beer Pigs, 13 players, an Apothecary, 3 rerolls. Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of all the builds we've seen with all the skills and everything kind of coming together. So it's kind of like it's somewhere in the middle between all of them. Yeah, looks really good to me. So, Renegades here. Chaos Renegades, coached by Percy the Troll, who named the Troll after himself, Percy the Troll. And the Troll has got Guard, the Rat Ogre's got Juggernaut, the Ogre doesn't get a skill, instead choosing to spread the skills out, so the Dark Elf taking Block. Normally I think it's Dodge on a Dark Elf, Blitzer on a Renegade team, Dark Elf Lineman on a Renegade team, but Block seems fine. The Orc gets Block, the Goblin gets Sneaky Get for the fouling, there's a bunch more Block on the Human Lineman, 13 players, an Apothecary, and 3 rerolls. No additional inducements. Yeah, interesting to see how this one compares to the other Renegades team we saw earlier in the video. Little Yoshi next with Elven Union, and the Elven Union have gone for 2 Dodge Blitzers, 2 Dodge Catchers, 2 Wrestle Catchers, a Leader Thrower, and a Kick Thrower. Again, interesting choice to put the kick on a positional, but then again, I guess you probably don't want the thrower on the LOS where you want a lineman, so maybe that was the reason to do that. This looks like a bit more of a standard Elven Union build here. 2 rerolls, no Apothecary, 13 players, should be all right. The Leader makes it 3. Yeah, it'll be just interesting to see how it gets on. Ogres now from Josh Tuck, and Josh Tuck has gone for a leader runt punter, 2 guard ogre blockers, a block ogre blocker, then 3 sneaky git nobblers. Oh my goodness me, the fouling that's going to be coming out of this team. Nobblers to fill up the roster, and then Deeproot as the star player. So it's only 14 players with Deeproot. No apothecary, 3 rerolls. Wow, this is a really interesting team. Hopefully those sneaky git nobblers stay around, but hopefully they also get removed so you get the maximum use out of the skills. I think I might have looked at maybe turning one of these guards into block and having a couple of block ogres like we saw on one of the builds earlier. But yeah, hopefully it works out, and Deeproot absolutely fantastic. And now we have Bulldog with Lizard. So Bulldog going for a Juggernaut Croxigore. So possibly thinking that he's going to get a lot of blitzes with the Croxigore if he's going for the Juggernaut there. The 6 block Saurus, absolutely love it. A sprint skink, presumably to help with the 1 turn touchdown. And then as we saw with the build a little earlier, 2 rerolls, but we do see an apothecary with this one here. So going for the 2 rerolls and apothecary here. Yeah, it's all good here with the blocks. Taking a skill here, I would have probably taken guard on the Croxigore, but that's just me. But if you think you're going to blitz a lot with the Croxigore, then I guess Juggernaut's a good shout. And that is the end of the video. I am absolutely exhausted. If you've managed to watch your whole way through this, thank you so much for being with me on this one. Yeah, it's been an absolute roller coaster. I've just been sat here clicking through rosters, talking about them. Obviously, some of those rosters a bit earlier had a bit more attention given to them simply because it was the first time we were seeing those builds or seeing those teams. So if your roster was a little bit later and you kind of felt like I maybe skimmed over it a bit, my sincere apologies. It's nothing personal to you. It's just that your idea wasn't original. But then again, maybe that's because you chose the Hellboy approved Necro build. So big thumbs up to you. So yeah, just my final thoughts before I close the video. Undead with a Wizard, I think is going to do really, really well. In this tournament. I also think that there are a few kind of standout builds that are knocking around that I think will also do really, really well. So I think if I was going to choose top three rosters to watch, I think I'm going to go with Mankiz as the defending champion with his Wood Elf team, because I think Mankiz wants the 3 trophies. That Wood Elf roster is really good. It will be interesting to see how he plays around the Wizards that are knocking around. So yeah, that would be one of my top picks. From the Undead with Wizards, I know there are a lot of good coaches playing. Loads of people choosing to go with the Wizards here. But I think I'm going to go with Marky Mark from Scotland, because I think Marky Mark has got a really nasty build, plus the Wizard, plus Marky Mark is a really solid coach. So yeah, I look forward to him doing really well at this event, I hope. And then finally, my third one is I think that Dementor's roster with the Snotling roster with Morg and Hackflem is absolutely disgusting, and I would not be surprised if it does something like a 501 or a 420, something like that, maybe even 660 and bring home the trophy. So yeah, so thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do not forget to smash the like and subscribe button. And yeah, if you'd enjoyed it, I'll do a roundup video once the event is over and talk through some stuff. But yeah, for now, I'm going to go and have a lie down. Thanks for watching. Bye.